Good morning, everyone. It took almost a year, or over a year really, but cabin fever finally set in, and with the warm temperatures we've had in Virginia over the past few days, I have finally decided to hit the road and take a little road trip for the next 2 or 3 days. And my first stop is in Level Cross, North Carolina. And I'm here at Petty Enterprises in the Richard Petty Museum. COVID is still with us, and because of that, here in North Carolina, they do have mask requirements, and I am complying, and I am social distancing. So if it's a little hard to hear me, I'm talking through a mask. But we're going to explore the Richard Petty Museum. And right next to the museum is the historic home of Lee Petty. And it was also the birthplace of Richard and his brother Maurice Petty. And Lee and Elizabeth spent their whole life here.
Just inside the front entrance to the Petty Museum, visitors are greeted by this outstanding bust of the king himself. This is the car that Richard Petty drove to his 200th win, the 1984 Firecracker 400 at the Daytona International Speedway. And if I'm not mistaken, President Ronald Reagan was in attendance, which made it even more special. This was the King's final win of the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. This trophy case features just a few of the many trophies that was won by the Petty family over the years, including a few of Richard's 7 Winston Cup championship trophies.
And this is one of the famed grandfather clocks presented to the winner every year at the Martinsville Raceway, just up the road in Martinsville, Virginia. This is the 1978 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. It should be interesting to figure out that the King started the 78 season in a Dodge, and then midway through he switched over to this 1978 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Some people call this Carolina Blue. I've always referred to it as Petty Blue. On this 1967 Petty Plymouth. As the little placard says here, This was Richard Petty's winningest car. He won 27 races and 19 poles, and was the 1967 NASCAR Grand National Champion. And the patriarch of the Petty clan was Lee Petty, and he won the first Daytona 500 in 1959, and a 1959 Oldsmobile hardtop. This is the 1981 Buick Regal that Richard Petty won his 7th Daytona 500 in. And even though he won his 7th Daytona 500 in this car, he finished 8th in the 1981 Winston Cup points battle. This is the interior of the 1967 Plymouth that won 27 races for Richard. And we get a look inside the driver's seat and what the cars looked like in 1967. Here's another look inside the 67 Plymouth. Not too much going on, just a few gauges, steering wheel, fire extinguisher, gear shift, and a seat with standard seat belt and shoulder harness. Not much in the way of a reinforced roll cage. And a look at the interior of the Monte Carlo. And if you look at the gauges are installed sideways. And that's for a purpose. So that when the needle is pointing straight up, they're right on the money. They can judge how the car is performing from just a quick glance at the gauge. And as I said, when the needle is pointing straight up, everything was a-okay. Now I'm going to make my way over from the gift shop and the smaller museum over through these red doors into the second building of the Richard Petty Museum. This is the car that Kyle Petty drove the last 2 years of his racing career in the 2007 and 2008 season. And not many people remember that Kyle Petty drove for another famous racing family, the Wood brothers, who are based just up the road a short distance in Stuart, Virginia. And he drove the Sitco famous car number 21 of the Wood brothers. This car was built in tribute to R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, and it's Winston brand as the title sponsor for NASCAR from 1971 to from 1971 until 2003. And I'm one of those people who believe that when Winston was legislated out of NASCAR, the sport began to decline. NASCAR and the Winston Cup Series was synonymous with the heyday of racing. One of the most famous sponsorships in NASCAR was Richard Petty and STP. And this is the 1972 Dodge that was the first car sponsored by STP. It began a long sponsorship run with Petty's and Petty Enterprises. They glow orange and blue. They glow orange of STP and the blue of Petty Blue. All good things must come to an end, I guess. And in 1992, Richard Petty ended his driving career. His last race was at the Atlanta Motor Speedway in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm proud to say I was there and was able to send the King out with a standing ovation. This is one of the 1992 Pontiacs that Richard drove during the 1992 season, which was his last. And like I said earlier, in 1992, Richard Petty ended his driving career at the Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. And this is the car that the King drove during his final race. I guess you could say it was the last of the King's chariots. What a day that was, and I'm so glad I was able to be there. This is a car that was driven by Adam Petty in the Sprint Cup Series, a series that came after the Winston Cup. And Adam was a fourth generation Petty, following his grandfather Richard, his great grandfather Lee, his dad Kyle, and Adam was tragically killed during a practice accident for a race in New Hampshire, I believe.
Well, this video is getting a little long, so
This is where I'm going to end this video. here in Level Cross, North Carolina at Petty Enterprises. This is the first stop on this little mini adventure. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up below, and if you want to keep up with my future travels, please ring that bell and subscribe. Until next time, it's time for me to head on down the road and see what's around the bend. So long, everyone, and thanks for watching.